Welcome to Phone Sex with Lily Show, where talent in front and behind the camera is showcased and explored. As you can imagine, there are a lot of characters and personalities in this industry. Listen as they share their stories. But first, grab your lube and get comfortable because the guests will unknowingly be subjected to phone sex with a porn star, webcam model, and your host, Lily Craven.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing really well. Just feeling kind of lonely.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want me to keep you company?
I would absolutely love that.
No. What should we do in our, time together?
Well, I think we could start by, maybe some light caressing, just
Ooh.
hug a little bit, press your body against mine.
Ooh, you jumped right into the naughty stuff, didn't you? You like skin on skin, I take it.
I love it. I love to feel my arms wrapped around you and your body pressed against mine. That's one of my favorite feelings.
Oh, yeah. That would surely take care of that loneliness.
I
Would
think
we
so.
bring anything fun like some toys in?
Oh, well, I'm already wearing my cock.
Your what? Oh my, please do tell.
Well, I was hoping you would maybe feel me stiff against you and get a little hints.
Now that's quite the toy you have there. Ooh.
Why do
I
you feel it inside?
Yeah, I have a feeling you're going to have your way with me.
Only if you are amenable to that.
Oh, of course. Are you kidding me? Like, I that little giggle of yours seems to be a little sounds a little sinful.
Oh, it definitely is.
You're listening to Phone Sex with Lily Show, and I have a very special guest here today for the listeners. It is the most delectable derriere in the industry, the award-winning, sinfully sensational strap-on queen, Sinn Sage. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good, good. Thank you so much for coming to talk to me today. That was some
Oh, my
interesting
pleasure.
phone sex direction we went in.
I had no ideas in my head, and that's what came out. So.
Well, but that does have let's just skip over the how did you get into the industry and that crap. I'm going to
It's
save
out
you.
there. Yeah,
Yes.
you can find that information.
Well, and I mean, you're very well known. You're a veteran in the industry. You have done probably over 300 movies,
Oh,
maybe more.
probably more than that. I mean, it's
That's
just,
a lot of fucking.
yeah.
Yeah. And so, why don't you tell them what you're well known for?
Well, so I'd say generally what I'm best known for is sort of like authentic lesbian desire. That's sort of like the umbrella of what I'm well known for. But then subcategorizing under that would be definitely strap on. And under that even would be tribbing, or as some people would call it, scissoring.
Oh, is that what? Now, what did you call it?
Oh, the word is tribadism.
Ooh.
And so the act of doing it is called tribbing, tribbing. And
Ah.
that is just vulvas rubbing. Usually vulvas rubbing together, but it also counts if you're like rubbing a vulva on a thigh or a hip or
Ooh.
wherever. That's still tribbing.
I like tribbing.
Yeah,
You look-
I find it to be a little more of a technical term or a professional term, whereas scissoring is sort of like the easier way of saying it. But I don't like the visualization of the scissor because that to me looks like this.
Yeah.
It like connotates, that sort of like leaning back, like two heads leaning away from each other while the legs are intertwined. But the way that I like to do it is sort of they're split, but it's like one on top, like I'm facing my partner and doing it
Yeah.
that way. And it feels better and more intimate and more of that body to body contact that we were talking about before. Like
Yeah.
that's really meaningful to me. So that's the
You,
way I distinguish it. But, sometimes I just realize that I have to give in to the common vernacular and accept that people are calling it scissoring, and that's fine.
we'll call it tribbing. Tribbing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's a new word. I'm going to use it. So, and you're
Oh,
known for your like intense scenes. You're very natural, very real, very it's just authentic
yeah.
gonzo, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, I love acting, but I find that I don't get a ton of it except for, I say the most that I get of that is with the custom videos that I create, which tend to be a lot of fetishy type things. And
Yes.
that's, far beyond like handcuffs and spanking, it gets really wild. So, sometimes like I don't know, I'm robbing a house and my feet are stuck to the floor, like weird stuff like that. And
Well,
so,
that's a good one.
yeah, but like then I get to go into like my acting abilities, which is how this whole career of mine even started. From a very young age, I've always loved acting and performing on stage and on camera and stuff like that. So yeah, I do love doing that, but oftentimes it's a lot of gonzo stuff for sure.
But I mean, your performances, even if it is gonzo, is still a performance.
Yeah, definitely, and you nailed it. It's just that I just approach a scene where it's like, hey, there's this beautiful human being in front of me, and I get to have sex with them, and so I just do like what feels good to me, what I'm hoping feels good to my partner, and that's I think that authenticity is what like shines through, and maybe a little different from what people are used to seeing. So
Yes.
yeah,
Puts a little realism to it. Yeah, because I
yeah,
did watch some of your scene and I'm like, wait a minute, this is like a whole nother level of chemistry on the set. And you can tell like you're into your partner. Like that's where you want to be at that moment. So I think it definitely shines through. I'm sure you're well aware of that. And
well,
you also
I
film with, I mean, you'll film with girl, you do trans, is there any like category? Do you film with men? I know you film with your husband. Is
Yeah,
that
so
right?
I never worked with men in my career.
Lucky.
At least not, yeah.
Oh, lucky. No.
Well, that was when I got into the business, I was in a very serious long-term relationship with a guy. This was 20 years ago. Like the way we thought about things was maybe a little bit different,
Mhm.
and he was a non-industry person. He was
Civilian.
as we call it.
Yes.
And so, he was very much like, he knew this is like the direction I want to take with my life. And he was okay with that. But he's just like, don't, I was just, I wasn't going to cheat on him with another guy. Like that's the mindset at the
Yes.
time. And so to me, it wasn't even like a question of like, do I do boys? I don't even know. No, it's just like, well, this is what I'm doing, girl, and and then I was in the industry for a long, long time. We were together for 9 years before we finally broke up. And then at that point, I had been in the industry for that long, and so I was like, well, I kind of knew how the industry worked a little bit more. I had done camera for boy girl scenes. I'd been on set for boy girl scenes and stuff like that. So I was like, I'm going to give this long relationship I had, I'm going to like respect it with a little bit of time. And I'm going to take a year for myself to really decide like if I want to go into boy girl work. And, in the end, I think it was a lot that I just realized that that's not for me, that particular way of going about things is just not the direction that I wanted to go. And I was lucky enough to meet a very, beautiful man who we stole each other's hearts for sure.
Oh,
And and he was very, the opposite of how my previous relationship was. He was very enthusiastic about my career and
nice.
interested in it, and he was also a civilian, and so there was no judgment there, and I was able to just really continue living my career. Obviously, like
That's
no one was going
awesome.
to change that for me.
Yep.
But then he was, I was like, well, do you want to try webcamming with me and see how that goes? And then that was very awesome. And then I was like, maybe we shoot some clips together. Maybe we see if we get hired by other people together. And everything just kind of like grew from there. And so now we just run the business together, and
Well, it's a family business, huh?
yeah, so
That's
he's my camera
awesome.
person. He does the editing for me. He's the PA, he does the lighting, and we just run the company together, and
That's
it's been
awesome.
amazing. So that's the male, the cis male that I work with, and I'm very very happy to kind of leave it there. Like we talk occasionally about doing like boy girl or
Mhm.
like couples stuff as far as on camera. So we might do that someday, but we'll see.
You never know where the journey will take you in the industry. It can
Exactly.
literally I don't even make plans anymore because or goals because you're like it can go in so many directions, and if you get
Totally.
too focused on one, then you're going to end up, I mean,
Stuck in a
missing
box.
out. Yeah, and then missing out on
Yeah.
so much more. So
And just the way that the industry evolves too, and
yes,
you never know how it's going to evolve next or what's going to come around the bend. So, just yeah, kind of being open, and as long as we're together, we could face the world.
yeah, right. Now, speaking of the industry evolving, do you feel like the industry is falling back into, you know, the old way of thinking?
I don't feel that, but I think it's interesting the way you asked that question. Do you think that?
I do.
Oh,
I
please
do.
explain.
Okay, I would say I feel that way because not necessarily social media, but we are definitely being shut down. And I think that they're successfully shutting us down. Now, platforms that say it's you can't post here, we don't want this here. That's their right. Like we have to
Yeah,
respect that.
of
But
course.
really, I mean, what's next? Like we have a catalog. We're going to be back in the J.C. Penney catalog days, like where there's not much if you're being shut down across the board.
Hmm.
And I don't believe we have a strong platform. Twitter, yes. I just don't. I think it's falling backwards instead of progressing. I don't think society's falling backwards.
Right,
It's like there's some force, someone who is the almighty that is pulling it backwards, but I don't know quite who that would
right.
be or what.
Well, I can understand why you would feel that way very, very much. I think when it comes to platforms, if we're talking about social media platforms,
Hmm.
um, you know, Twitter has been this bastion of allowing for people to really say what they want. And then they reach a point. I mean, it's different if we're talking about like politics or sexuality, although I do feel like sex and sex work is inherently political.
Yes.
So, but I think on the other side of things, like when I think about how the industry changes, the way I think about it is how it continues to adapt to the times. And I
Ooh.
think we know that like as much as since the dawn of time, since the dawn of history, we have cave paintings of pornography.
True.
Sexuality has been represented in some form of visual media since human beings could write on walls. So I feel that it's very clear that like that will never go away, no matter who is
Correct.
trying to stop it or tamp it down or make it go away, whether it's religion, and it's always religion plays a role, but or the right, or just even people on the left who like we would talk about swerfs and stuff like that, sex worker exclusionary radical feminists. They can play their game and they can cause us some real harm, but and they do. But I think ultimately, porn and nudity and sexuality will always prevail. I mean, it's always going to be
Yes.
there. The question is whether or not it's, completely underground and turns into like a black market thing, and it causes people to be like in um, more danger of like being imprisoned and things like this, or if we're going to allow adults to engage in adult activities with each
Correct.
other
Yes.
and do it like that. So when I think about the industry shifting and changing, I think about individual creators having more power. I think about the fact that the first 10 years of my career, I was just like waiting for the phone to ring or waiting for an email that says like, hey, I want to book you for something. And like, that was my career. I was just completely like, all of my income was based on whether or not I was getting hired for scenes or photo
Someone else.
shoots or
Yeah.
whatever. Yes. And since, like Pornhub came along, those jobs started to drop. So I was forced to a position of like, how am I going to adapt in this now? I
Yes.
got a little camera. I had a friend show me how to edit. I got a little light and I started shooting my own things. And I started to get emails from fans who were like, can you make me a video like this? And I was
Yes.
like, well, now I can do that. And so I just grew from there. So now, and then OnlyFans happened, which is like the most recent shift. So now it's like, rather than being reliant on, other people paying me for gig work, I now
Yes.
own my content and I sell my content. And being the owner, you always profit off of what you make rather than just getting paid like a one-time performance fee. And that is so empowering. It's
Yes.
crazy. Like, so now I have control over my life. Like, I don't have to live in LA. I can live somewhere else. I lived in my van for 3 years, and like, we're about to get back in the van like early next year and do that and travel again and still produce content and still make a living selling my content. So in that way, I think it's amazing. I think the fact that even in mainstream porn, now we have like, I don't know if I can say predominantly, but predominantly who I work with are female directors. Not 100%, but I do work with a lot of female
Yes.
directors. I feel like women are being represented in this industry a lot more as creators, as directors, as, business women, business
Yes.
people. So I think, and also we are being, thanks to sort of like the Me Too movement and stuff like that, it's like now we have power that maybe we didn't have, 10, 15 years ago, where it's like, well, if I speak out about this director, I'll never get hired from them again. So I guess I can't
Correct.
really say anything, even though I feel like I was treated poorly. Like, no, now it's so, I don't know if democratize is the right word, but it's like, if I go on Twitter and I say so and so director did blah 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 to me, like,
It'll blow up.
yeah, and especially
Yep.
like, I am privileged because I do have a name in this industry and I have been around for a long time, so the things I say do carry weight, and I have a
Yes.
reputation. I'm not like a shit starter. I don't make things up. You know what I mean?
But you're very
So
business. This is
yeah,
business for you. You
yeah.
go
Oh,
in
definitely.
there.
Definitely.
Yes.
And I'm not involved in like drama and gossiping and things like that. So that does carry a certain weight to it, but just the fact that that exists out there for us now. So
Yes.
I see a lot of positivity. The part that is scary for sure is like the idea that OnlyFans can take it away from us at any
Oh
moment.
yeah.
That, I sell most of my content I sell on ManyVids and Clips for Sale. Those sites, which I call those platforms, they've thrived. ManyVids is since around 2000, maybe like 13 or something, but Clips for Sale has been around since late 90s, super early
Oh, I
2000s.
didn't know it was that long.
Yeah, so they've got a foothold in, but no one is immune to what the credit card. So this is how the trafficking
I know.
trafficking anti-sex, anti-porn people have gotten their fingers in the pot here by talking to credit
The
card companies
banks.
now
Yep.
instead of the government. So, because the government has this pesky free speech issue, but credit card companies can just be like, oh, well, you can't use our services if you
Correct.
don't follow these guidelines. And the guidelines that are now being set now, I want to say, some of the things are better. Like,
Yes.
even though the Pornhub thing happened and I was making money off Pornhub by selling my clips, just like I do on Clips for Sale, that got taken away. But the part that should not have been taken away. The parts that did happen, that should have happened, is that people should not be allowed to upload a clip without verification. Meaning,
Correct.
just some random person who maybe had sex with an underage girl and filmed it with his cell phone shouldn't be able to just go and post it on Pornhub. As well as, people shouldn't be out there stealing my scenes and posting it on Pornhub and then taking the money away from me,
Exactly.
later. So those issues got fixed. And so that's why I don't understand why the credit card companies aren't like allowing their use again on Pornhub, because it's like, those were the issues, that the underage porn happening and the not having model releases filled out from knowing that it was a consensual scene to be published. That's basic stuff.
But they're not allowing it on any platform, right? Like Visa, MasterCard, they're just not allowing it at all.
No, they
my
totally.
understanding.
No. Yes, you can. You can Visa and MasterCard. You can buy Clips for Sale and ManyVids for sure.
Oh, nice.
That still works.
Okay.
It's just that their guidelines have gotten a lot more strict. So now if you're going to post something on Clips for Sale, for example, rather than it just going up there's a whole process of review. So every single clip, of which there are thousands a day, I'm sure, being posted.
Yes, I can't even imagine.
Like they have staff now that has hired to look at every clip that gets posted, where it did not used to be like that. And so, like, most of these, weird fetishes, like I'm telling you about, they're all allowed. But if you say the word hypnotize or something like that,
I know.
they'll flag
Fisting. Fisting.
Yeah, and so you got to cut that clip out, same thing with like OnlyFans. It's just, everything is very, very strict now. And, they've had to put more money into it.
But I think we need boundaries. Like, even for society and us, like I understand being all free, but there's a point where you tell someone else that you're free to do what you'd like, and it goes to a level. I don't know if there's even a bad level. Like, it's all fantasy, and if you're consenting, but
well, that's the part that gets so hard, because like I do get a lot of, like, let's say knockout fetish clips. Mm-hmm. So maybe with a little bit of chloroform or something. Like, that's a whole very specific fetish that's based on the acting ability and stuff like that.
Yes.
It's not, and it's not real life. So
you don't really want to die right there.
Yeah, hell no. And I will say, like, but I kind of have like a death fetish, like that. Those things do turn me on a little bit. Yeah. But no, I don't really want to die,
No,
but
not today.
playing and like having the fantasy of it, like that can be a turn on, and that's why it's fantasy, So a lot of fantasies, like giantess, these are things that, like, they will never happen in real life.
Or mommy. Mommy, right. Like, they don't want to fuck their biological mom. Right. They don't.
But to play around in the fantasy world, like, that's kind of what porn is for. So, well, I can understand some stuff, like the hypnotizing thing, like that, the limitation of that really does frustrate me as a creator.
Yeah, I can
why
see.
Why can't we just pretend like we're hypnotized
or we're dreaming?
Like, it's not.
We can't even say we're in a dream. Yes.
Yeah, it just won't go through. But at least those platforms still exist. If the credit card decided tomorrow, like, nope, nothing at all anymore, then we'd all have to scramble, and I'd be like, hey, what am I going to do for a living now? How am I going?
We'd always find a way, though. First, we're women.
That's how I feel like we always find a way.
Yes, we're survivors. We will figure it out.
And so that's what I'm saying. That's kind of what I want to say, like, to you directly is, I understand obviously I'm in it. I understand the sort of the fear, and that it feels like there's this fascist boot pressing down upon us, and there kind of is in a lot of ways. But I do think that as far as sex work and pornography, we will find a way. It's just
Oh
like,
yeah.
what's going to be the next thing?
I feel like it's also, it's going to revolve around the times, and it's going to
I think so
you
too. It's just
totally
like
relax. It's going to go strict again, and it's just goes full
this
circle
is,
over and over.
and this is what happens when we make so much progress. Like when we make
Yes,
so much progress for women's rights, for equality,
you
for
got to pull back.
LGBTQ rights, trans rights, all of these issues that we are making so much progress for. That's when the people who don't like that shit, they're
Saying,
pushing back
whoa.
the hardest, and they're so loud. And they're mainly a minority. They're not really a majority
True.
anymore. But because they're so loud, they get the most attention. And because
You
the
think that's
Supreme
the
Court,
force that pulls us back? Like
absolutely,
is the loud ones, the squeaky wheel.
yes,
Wow, that's interesting. Because
yeah.
because they're the ones who are going to go complain to the government.
Yes,
They're the voters.
they get their lobbyist groups, and they get that FaceTime, and I
Oh
mean, look,
yeah,
look at how the evangelicals have kind of like taken over the government right now. So
yeah. We
so
don't need to
it's
get into that, do we?
yeah, but it's rough. It's hard. But that's why I'm saying, like, you're totally right about the cycle. Like, I just try to, when I feel really dejected and down about these things, I
Mhm.
just try to remember that, like, it has always been this way. It will
Oh
always
yeah,
be this way. So we move forward and we get pushed back. We move forward, you get pushed back.
yes.
This is just part of the cycle of humanity. And so until human life is no longer sustainable on this planet, like, this is how it's going to be. So.
That I have to totally agree. Now, at what point did you just realize that you were hot? Like you just went, I'm a porn star. Like I'm that hot. Do you remember, like, as a
Oh,
teenager or at some stage you have to hit that you go, God, I'm hot?
oh my God.
There's got
No,
to be.
I got to tell you because for me, I think especially when I was younger, I always struggled with self-esteem issues. I
Yes,
think so many of us do.
so many.
Um, and then so I mean, to this day, I'm very confident now. I don't really struggle with self-esteem. And probably been good on that for the past maybe like 10, 15, 10, I don't know, some amount of time.
You're doing good.
Uh,
Yeah.
but I still like, it's weird. I don't like look in the mirror and say like, damn girl,
Damn,
you're
look
hot.
at
Like,
me. Yeah.
I don't feel like, "Duh, I'm hot. That's why I can do this." It's more like I'll catch a glimpse of like a screen grab from a scene, and I'll look at the way like my profile is and the shape of my body and me
Yes.
looking at this other girl, and I'm like, that's fucking hot. You know?
Oh,
So it's not
yes.
really like I feel it in myself as much as like I feel like in myself I sit with like a comfortable ease with like who I am and how I look and stuff.
That's
But when
well
I see
said.
these moments,
Yeah.
like these particular photos or a clip of a video or something, and that's when I'll be like, oh, that's me. That's hot, you
I
know?
know what you mean. Yeah, because you have to have an eye for that as well. Like
Yeah.
you just can see it, and you're like, that looks good. And
But I don't
yes.
feel it inside as much like as it's happening. Sorry
Now,
to
are you different than, say, is it a character and a performer? I mean, do you have two personas, real life and
I don't feel like that. What I say all the time is, sin is me, and
Mhm.
I am sin.
Yes.
I think we're so entangled with each other that there can't really be a separation.
Well, it's been so many years too.
Yeah.
Like you grow into that character grow into it, but you grow with it, I think.
Yeah, totally. And that's the thing too, is like, I'm sure there are ways that I could make more money by making sin more of a character that I think people want to consume.
Uh-huh.
But for me, I've really settled on this years ago that being my authentic self is more important to me than making more money. Like, I will always take more money if it comes my way. But
Yes.
but for me, what's important in life is like, I can't I can't buy it and take it with me when I die. I just want to like live my best life now, and money isn't like a super important part of that.
True.
To me, it's like where I've come, especially with my career, is just that like there are other people out there who want to see that authenticity, who are
Yes.
inspired by it. And so for me to just like live as myself, as an example of what I want to see in the world, and as an inspiration to others, is just the best gift that I can give. So that's
Good for
what I'm
you. It is inspirational. It inspires me. I'm very different from my character, but that's because well, first I started at 40 because of a divorce. So,
Oh
whoa,
wow! Oh,
yeah.
good for you!
So, yeah,
Congratulations!
it was more revenge. I was like, I'm going to get him for cheating on me. I'm going to go do porn. And true story. It's not my motivation now, but I just fell in love with the industry and it
Yeah,
giving me, empowering me.
yeah,
But
the
I'm
freedom.
very different. Like I'm not someone who would be promiscuous. I'm very monogamous. I don't date now, but you start to grow into that. It almost allows you like to loosen up a little bit and start to be free. And I could see how
Yeah,
they could mesh eventually after years it's like
yeah.
literally permission.
Yes,
It's your
yes,
job.
totally.
But yeah, it gets my mind to loosen up. And so it is inspirational to just say it's okay to be you and just
Yeah,
flow with it,
yeah.
and it's fun.
Oh, it's so
Isn't it
fun.
so much fun?
It's so fun. And like even, when I shift to working for myself more, it's a lot of work. I'm like glued
A
to the
lot.
computer so much. But
Yes.
but I still feel like even the parts of this job that are difficult, the freedom that I get from it is so fucking beyond worth it. Like the fact
Oh,
that
yeah.
I decide when I work, how I work, who I work with. I take vacations when I want to. I take time off for mental health or
Anything.
medical
Yep.
reasons whenever I want. I don't have to ask someone else permission. And like the value of that for my life
It's huge.
is worth everything else.
I just didn't ever fit. And I hear this, it's pretty common that most of us just didn't fit in the workplace.
Totally. And you know
I
what?
did
That's
not.
yeah, no, not at all. Like,
Yeah.
and trying to
Like
like
I
have,
got fired at every few couple jobs I had, and I was
yeah.
like, this is
Well,
not fun.
it's just not for us. And for some
No,
people, like it is for them. And they really, I can
thrive.
understand that,
Yeah.
that security too, of like knowing when your paycheck's going to come, how much it's going to be and all that. And the routine of it, like that. I get it. I totally get it. But for me, like I don't fit into that at all.
Me
And
either.
it's very stifling and, uh, it's just like it's
I think it
choking
would shorten my life. Yeah, I think it would shorten my life to stay at the
so
same
much.
job for 25 years, even though I give all due respect to people who can do
Totally,
that.
of course.
I stood back and went, "Oh my gosh, I'm not going to be a homemaker anymore. I've got to go get my education, went to school, got my degree." And I'm just like, I can't imagine being at a company that long. And
No. Ugh.
it's just, it would literally, I don't want to
Yeah.
say, but it would
Yeah.
be
Well,
no reason to live for
yeah.
that.
And like even when I would work in a strip club, 'cause, like I kind of started my career doing that, and it's
Yeah.
like I never stayed at the same. I think the longest I was ever at one strip club was like maybe 10 months before
It
I'm like,
sounds like,
all right, I gotta go somewhere else now. Like I same thing with like this. Is why we live in a van. I've never lived in this. This is the longest I've lived in one house ever since when I moved to Vegas. We've
nice.
been here for like 3.5 years. By the time we leave, it'll be 4 years. That's the longest I've ever lived in one place. So again, just that like that need inside of me for change and growth a lot. And
Yes.
when I say like it's worth it, I mean it's worth it that people like they question my intelligence, or on Twitter they say, oh well, you're just a sex worker, so your opinion doesn't matter. Like I can't be
You?
smart or
Yeah.
thoughtful because I do sex work.
Yes.
And that part sucks, but that's a price
And
I'm
yeah.
willing to pay to live the life that I'm lucky enough to live.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Awesome, awesome. So where can the listeners find you?
So the best place to find me, it's hard to say. My website is Sinn-Sage.com. It's a totally free website. It's kind of like a promo thing for me. So you'll find my interviews. You will find my custom video ordering form, the models I have available to work with. I do release full-length films. I sell them exclusively on my website as well. They are available on like some of the VOD sites too. But Sinn-Sage.com. You can find my OnlyFans, my clip stores, all of my things. Twitter, I am at Sinn Sage. That is Sinn with 2 N's.
Yes.
And Instagram, I'm at Real Sinn Sage.
Just Google her. Yeah. Just Google.
Just Google me. But
I did. You're all over the place. You paint the Google pages.
Oh, good. Yes. But OnlyFans, Twitter, and my website. Those are the best places to connect with me for sure.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you talking with me today. It's been a pleasure. You've been a fantastic guest. And yeah, be sure to check out Sinn Sage. And thank you very much. We are signing off. You're listening to Phone Sex with Lily Show. Bye.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode of Phone Sex with Lily Show and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch episodes you may have missed, go to Spotify, Anchor, or SkyhawkAfterDarkTV.com. Simply type in Phone Sex with Lily Show. For the latest from Lily, you can follow her on Instagram at real_Lily Craven and on Twitter at LilyCravenXXX, or message on Facebook at lily.craven40. Thanks again. Until next time.